Alright everyone, welcome to phase 2, client acquisition. This is where things really start to get exciting. In phase 1, we focused on laying the groundwork, picking your niche, creating your offer, building your brand, setting up your Meta account and warming up your emails. Now it's time to shift gears. Phase 2 is all about one thing, getting clients. Because here's the truth, you can have the slickest funnels, the smartest ad copy, the sharpest systems, but until someone actually pays you for leads, you don't have a business. So in this lesson, we're going to cover the essentials you need before speaking to prospects, how to position yourself so you stand out, pricing, minimum orders and setting expectations, and the mindset that keeps you moving forward when most beginners quit. By the end, you'll know exactly what it takes to land your first client, and you'll feel confident doing it. Let's get into it. Why client acquisition matters. Think about it like this. Learning how to generate leads is step 1. But selling those leads is the moment the business becomes real. That first yes you get from a client flips everything. Suddenly it's not just theory anymore. You've got proof. And once you land one, the next becomes easier. Then another. And before you know it, you're stacking momentum. That's why I want you to take this part seriously. Because it's not just about scripts and tactics. It's about building belief in yourself. What to have ready beforehand. Now, before you start reaching out, there are a few things you must have in place. If you skip this prep, you sound unprofessional and lose trust quickly. Here's the checklist. Your niche. You should have already chosen one. No niche equals no clear message. Your brand. At the very least, a simple one-page website that looks clean. Your pricing. You don't need a fancy calculator, but you must know a rough estimate of how much it costs you to get a lead, so you know how much you can charge. Let me explain why. When you send cold emails, most prospects will check your site. If they see a generic Gmail address and no website, they'll think you're just another freelancer guessing their way through. But if they click and see a proper brand, a logo, a domain, a short description of who you help, it instantly builds credibility. It's the difference between some random person spamming me about leads and this looks like an actual business. It's a small detail, but it has a huge impact. Pricing. Keep it simple. Next up, your pricing. This is where a lot of beginners overcomplicate things. Here's the golden rule. Whatever it costs you to generate a lead, you sell it for double. So if you spend $30 on ads to get a lead, you sell it for $60. That margin gives you breathing room. It covers your tools, ad fluctuations, and it still leaves you with healthy profit. And here's the key point. Never discount your price. If a prospect pushes back, don't lower the cost per lead. Instead, adjust the volume. Say something like, no problem, why don't we start with a trial of 10 leads at the same price? That way you can see the quality for yourself. When you put it like this, your price remains firm, but you make it easier for them to say yes. Minimum order size. This brings us to minimum orders. Personally, I like to set mine at 50 leads. That's a solid starting point. If a client looks promising and I want to reduce friction, I'll go down to 25 leads. That's usually the sweet spot where we have enough data to test properly. Now, some clients will ask to start even smaller. In rare cases, like I just said a second ago, I might offer 10 trial leads just to let them see the quality. But here's the important part. I make it clear that the 10 leads I give them is only a sample, not a full test. I don't get any lower than that. Selling 5 leads, for example, just isn't enough to prove anything. If those 5 leads happen to be weak, the client will write you off before you even had a chance to deliver properly. That balance of flexibility and confidence reassures clients, and it shows you know what you're doing. Common questions clients ask. Now expect prospects to ask you questions. Things like, what's the conversion rate? What ad spend do you recommend? What questions are on your form? And if you're new, you might not have all the exact numbers yet. That's perfectly fine. The key is just to be honest. You can say something like, we're new to this niche, but based on our recent ads, we expect around a 10 to 12% conversion rate. We'll optimize as we go and work closely with you to improve results over time. That kind of answer builds trust. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to show that you're thoughtful, professional, and committed. How to price leads. Let's break this down with an example. Let's say a kitchen renovator makes $15,000 from one remodel. They close 1 in 10 leads. That means each lead is worth about $1,500 to them. So if you charge $80 to $100 per lead, they're laughing. Spend $1,000, close one job, bring in $15,000. That's a return no business owner would ignore. And when you can show that maths, suddenly your price isn't just a number. It's a logical decision. Why all this matters? Let's just take a step back for a moment. Why does all of this matter? Because this is the point where you shift from being a learner to being an earner. Look, building funnels, setting up ads, writing copy, all of that is valuable. But on its own, it's just practice. It's theory. Without clients, you don't have a business. You just have skills. Client acquisition is where it all comes together. It's where your skills start paying you back. And here's the thing. The second you land your very first paying client, everything changes. Suddenly, your confidence goes through the roof. You stop doubting yourself and start thinking bigger. You begin to believe. Not in some vague way, but because you've got proof that people will actually pay for what you do. And that's the moment your business stops being an idea and finally feels real. Alright, let's bring this to a close. By now, you should feel a lot clearer on what it really takes to land that very first client. And in the next part, we'll get practical. We'll dive into how to write cold emails that actually get replies, and how to handle your first sales calls with confidence. This is the point where your business stops being theory and starts becoming real, because this is where you finally start getting paid. Now here's the thing, you don't have to figure this out on your own. Inside my free school community, I've uploaded done for you cold email templates, sales scripts, and objection handling frameworks you can use straight away to land your first client. Don't just watch this training and move on. Take action. Grab the templates, customize them for your niche, and start sending them out this week. Join the school group today and you'll find everything you need. I'll see you on the inside.